Hey everybody, welcome to the second Pancake class. Now, normally I film this live during the Zoom class, but this week I have scheduled on Monday a fence being built right behind the garage here and a stump being ground, 2-foot tree stump being ground over there. So I thought that the sound would probably be better if I pre-filmed this class, and then hopefully you guys won't have to hear that all that construction in the background. So today's class, we're going to be thinking about similar things to last week. So continuing to focus on positioning, okay, feeling the stretch, being able to relax in positions, but we're going to add the idea of contract, relax. You'll see this in a lot of flexibility systems. Where I have learned most of this stuff is from Kit Lachlan and stretch therapy. A lot of my stuff also comes from Lucas Range of Strength because he's been coaching me for a while now. So those are my two main sources. But let's talk about what contract relax is. So the idea of contract relax is we get into a stretch, and let's just consider a stretch with your finger. So you guys can do this with me. So take your middle finger and just stretch it back. Okay, you can feel that stretch. Notice where your finger, you're not trying to pull your finger off. You're just trying to feel that stretch. Notice where you're feeling that, how it feels. And we get into this position. We try to relax. We hold it. We spend some time there. And then to perform the contract relax, what we're going to do is these muscles that we're stretching along our finger and along our hand, we're going to contract those muscles as if we're trying to pull the finger out of that stretch. The other hand is holding it in position. So a good isometric always kind of looks like you're not doing very much at all. So I'm pressing up with the finger that I'm stretching, and the other finger, my right hand, is holding that finger in position. I'll do that for 10 seconds. And you start nice and gently. So you start with just a little bit of pressure, you increase it slightly, you increase it, maybe you stop at some point, or maybe you go to your max intensity, depending on how that feels. And then after about 10 seconds, you can slowly stop that contraction. Take a nice deep breath. Try to relax. Okay, relax your jaw. Take another deep breath. And then on the exhale, see if you can go a little bit deeper. So see if you can pull your finger a little bit further into position. Okay? And then we spend some time there. So basically this method is a way we get in the position, we perform this contract relax, and then hopefully we get into a deeper position and spend some time there. So we're going to do similar positions as last week, so I'm not going to go into as much detail. If you haven't watched last week's video, I highly recommend doing that one first. So we're going to start with our chair piriformis stretch. So seated on your chair, your feet about hip width apart, you're going to bring one leg up onto the other leg. So your ankle is resting on that leg in a position that's nice and comfortable. Same as last week, we're going to think about that alignment, our chest coming over our leg. We're going to reach this arm around, grab onto your leg, and pull it up. Now you might not be able to pull very far, you might be here, in which case your other hand is probably going to be resting on the chair or bench. Okay, if you can pull it a bit higher so you can get balanced, you can grab onto this arm, you can get that pull there. Now to get in a better position, we're going to think about lengthening, okay, because you can see my lower back's rounded a little bit here. We're going to think about lengthening, reaching our chest towards our knee. So we get that length through our spine, through our chest. And we're going to hold this position. So I'm just going to relax here. Now when I say relax, it's, I obviously have to contract this to hold my leg up. I have to hold my muscles nice and tall. But what I'm going to trying to relax is this area where I'm feeling that tension, where I'm feeling the stretch, which is through here, through my right hip. And then I'm just going to try and see if I can let go of some of that tension. On the exhales, that's when we really focus on that relaxation. And this shouldn't feel painful. This should feel a mild discomfort, if anything. Should be a nice sensation. We're just trying to relax and hold the position, feeling the stretch. Now we're ready to perform the contract relax, the action we're going to be doing is going to be pushing this knee down towards the floor. So it's almost as if I'm trying to do this movement, right? But again, my arm is locking it in place, and so not a lot's going to happen. So I'm going to start nice and gently, pressing my knee into my arm, build it up, increase it a little bit more till I feel like it's good intensity. We'll hold that. 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. And then I'll stop pushing down. Take a deep breath. See if I can relax. Relax around here, relax my jaw. Take another deep breath. And this time reach around. See if you can pull a little bit deeper into this stretch. So you're trying to pull your knee higher, but at the same time, trying to rotate your pelvis, pull your chest along your leg. You'll feel that nice stretch through the outside of the hip you're stretching. And again, typically I don't do very strict timing of my stretches, but I'll typically hold for about 60 seconds before I do the contract relax. Usually it's more about a feeling. It's like, okay, I feel like I've relaxed. I've got as far as I'm going to get. Now I'll do my contract relax. Then I sink a little bit deeper. And again, I hold that position until I feel like I've gotten what I need out of the stretch. I feel like I've sunk deeper into the stretch and held that position. And usually the first one's about a minute. I'll do my 10-second contract, and I'll relax, and maybe another 60 seconds in position. So come down. We'll switch sides. So bringing your other leg up and over. Again, we're positioning alignment of your chest, your torso over your leg. You're going to reach around, grab that leg, and pull it up. If you need support, you can keep that hand on the chair. Otherwise, you can come and help get a little more pull through here. Now, as you can see, shimmy around a little bit, kind of lost some of that pelvis position. So what I'm going to do is sit up tall, rotate my pelvis, and think about reaching my chest along towards my knee. So get in that nice position through here. And again, I'm feeling that stretch on the outside edge of my hip. And I'm just trying to relax. Every exhale, reach a little bit further if you can. And then we'll do our contract relax. So remember, our contract is pushing our knee into our arm, as if I'm trying to pull myself out of the stretch. So I'm pushing down with my knee, building that up a little bit more. And then hold that for 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. And then we can stop pushing. Take a nice deep breath. Can I relax, let go of some tension? Take another deep breath. Can I pull deeper into that stretch? Can I pull my knee higher? Can I reach my chest further along my leg? Feel that good stretch around the back of my hip. Holding the position. Now, I just think this is a really great one to start with when you're doing your flexibility work, because I find it gets very deep into the hip joint. And if you think about the joint of the hip, if we can get really deep into that hip joint, then we're going to help our hip move better in all directions. And you'll find doing this stretch first allows you to get a little bit deeper into a lot of your other stretches. So let's slowly come out of this stretch. Okay, shake your legs out. Let's go into our next one. We're going to do a standing hamstring stretch. So for this one, you're going to need a bench or chair, and you might need a couple of yoga books. So I'm just going to grab those. Okay, so I might need a couple of yoga blocks. The idea of this stretch is it's not about how far we get down, but it's about the position of our pelvis and our hips. So we're going to place our leg up on the bench. Now, if I was doing a splits or a regular hamstring stretch, I would have my foot straight in front of me. But for a pancake, I'm actually going to take it a little bit wider. Now my hips are still facing forward, but that leg's at a slight angle, and that just targets a slightly different part of the hamstring, which is a little bit more appropriate for our pancake stretch. So I don't have my leg way out here because then it becomes a little unstable. It's just like this far out from the center. So in this position, my hip bone's facing forward. I'm pulling this leg into the hip joint, rotating my pelvis, sticking my butt out, and then I'm going to bend this front knee. Okay, so that takes a little bit of slack off the hamstring, and I bend it so that I can bring my torso down onto my leg. And I'm really trying to think about maintaining that position of my pelvis, sticking my butt out, and I'll bend that knee as much as I need to. Now I'm going to use the yoga blocks here to place my hands on here. If you can get further down, you can just place your hands on the bench or chair. So I'm going to use the yoga blocks here. So we've got that bend here so that I can feel my ribs touching my quads here. And then I'm going to try to think about pushing my butt backwards, right? Maintaining contact here, push my butt back, and actively squish into my leg. So the leg straightens a little bit as I'm pushing my butt back. And you might find you can't get this far and you're still up here, but you're feeling that good hamstring stretch. So that is absolutely fine. This is about finding a position that feels like a really good stretch for you. And this shouldn't feel painful. This shouldn't feel like you're hurting anything. It should feel like a nice, comfortable stretch. So we'll hold this position. Noticing where you're feeling this sensation. You might be feeling it in your calf. You might be feeling it in your hamstring. Relax your head and neck. This is a really common one to tense up the head and neck. So we're going to do our contractile acts. So for the contractile acts in this one, we're actually going to think about pulling our heel towards our butt. So if the bench wasn't here, the action would actually be this. So I'm doing like almost a hamstring curl. So I'm in this position. I'm going to gently start to try and bend my knee, pull my heel towards my butt. I'll ramp it up, go a little bit harder, a little bit harder. 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Take a deep breath. See if I can relax. Take another deep breath. And see if I can push my butt backwards, squish more. So I'm actively pulling my torso towards my leg, pushing my butt backwards. And we're going to hold this new position, this deeper position. And you can move around. You don't have to be completely static in the position. You can play around with pointing and flexing your toe, moving up and down gently, moving side to side. Just trying to find, we're always looking for lines of tension that feel like a really good stretch for you and feel like that's what you need. You don't want to go so far out of position that you're no longer in a position that's useful for the pancake, but little movements, wiggles around can help you get into a better position for yourself. Good. And then to come out of this stretch, we're going to bend the knee. Bring your hands up, and we'll switch sides. I'm going to show this one from a different angle so you can see where my leg is here. So rather than bringing the leg straight in front, I'm just taking it that little bit to the side, but you can see my hips are still facing forward. I'm going to bend my knees, stick my butt out, bring my down so my ribs are touching my leg, and I'm going to place my hands on the yoga blocks. Now, if you've got a narrower chair, like I have quite a wide bench, so I have the ability to put that leg wider. But if you're on a chair, just place your foot on the edge of the chair and your hands next to it, and don't worry so much about how far that foot is at or what angle it's at. Just find what works for you. Take a deep breath. Try to relax. Right, think about pushing your butt towards the wall behind you. You can straighten that leg a little bit as long as you can keep that contact. Right? You don't want to do this and lose that contact. Right? This is working. What I like about keeping the contact is it works the active flexibility part that you need for your pancake at the same time as, you know, getting into that static stretch. And then we're going to perform that contraction again. So pulling your heel towards your butt, trying to do that hamstring curl. Start nice and gentle. Ramp it up a little bit. Ramp it up even more until you're pulling really hard. 3, 2, 1. And then slowly kind of let go of that action. Take a deep breath. Try to relax. Take another deep breath, and then we're going to try and think about sinking deeper into position. So I'd inhale on the exhale. Keep that contact. See if you can push your butt back as you straighten your leg a little bit more. And you might find you don't need the yoga blocks anymore. You can just place your hands on the bench. And notice where you're feeling this stretch. I'm feeling a really good hamstring stretch on this side. Right? And you can even notice, like, you're feeling it on the inner part of the hamstrings, the outer part of the hamstrings. The pancake targets a little more of that inner part of the hamstring, which is why we have the leg a little out to the side here. But maybe you're feeling it on one of the other parts of the hamstring. And wherever you're feeling the stretch, that is absolutely fine. See if you can relax. Let go of some tension. Don't push into anything painful. But just explore and see if you can sink into any positions without discomfort or pain. Good. And then bend your knee. Bring your leg up and stand up. Perfect. Okay, I'm going to put this to the side. I'm going to keep the yoga blocks. I'm going to put my bench to the side. So the next exercises are standing straddle stretch. Now this one, if you can do it with straight legs, I know we talked last week at the end of class about if you really can't maintain a pelvic tilt and lean forward at all, an anterior pelvic tilt butt sticking out, then bend your knees a little bit. But if you can, let's keep the legs straight. So you're going to go into a really wide straddle, feet facing forward, legs locked out if you can, as I said. So it's almost like you're pulling your kneecaps up, and then we're going to stick our butt out. Okay, rotate your pelvis, tip the hip bone forward, and then we're going to keep our back nice and flat as we lean forward. And this is where the yoga blocks will be useful. You can place your hands on the yoga blocks. You might need something higher. Let's come up here. And just notice where you feel this. And maybe after that hamstring stretch, this is feeling a little easier than it was last week. And you can sink as you exhale. So you can sink deeper. Now, the important thing as you sink deeper is we don't lose that position of the pelvis and just go into a back rounding. You'll feel immediately if you do that, that a lot of that tension comes off the hamstrings and you're no longer feeling that nice hamstring stretch. So reset. Stick the butt out and go as far as you can, keeping that really good position. Okay, positioning is always key, and we add things on top of that. If you're not in the right position, then you're not stretching the thing that you're wanting to stretch. Try shifting your weight forward. You'll feel maybe a little more in your calves. And maybe you don't need the yoga blocks if you're all the way down to the floor. Relax your neck. You can experiment taking your feet a little wider if that feels good. And our contract relax in this one is actually going to be trying to squeeze your legs together. So if there was no friction with the floor, what would happen is my legs would pull towards each other. So that's the action we're going to make. So start gently, pull your feet towards each other as if you're trying to close your legs. Okay, ramp that up a little bit, squeeze a little harder. This one can be quite intense, so maybe you don't get to 100% intensity here. Hold that, keep squeezing your legs together for 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Relax. I don't know if you noticed my legs started shaking there. Take a deep breath. Try to relax, let go of some tension. Another deep breath. Okay, make sure you've got that butt sticking out. Let's see if you can sink a little bit deeper into the stretch. Maybe some of you can get your elbows to the floor. Targets are always really nice to have, you know, something to measure. Like, oh, I can actively reach and pull my elbows just to touch the floor. It's not, again, not forcing anything, just seeing where you can get to in the stretch with it feeling really good. So keep checking your position. Is your butt sticking out? Relax your neck. Whenever I say relax your neck, it's because I notice my neck is tense. Good. And come out of this, you can use your hands. You can then bend your knees. Step your feet up. Your hands up. Come up. Shake your legs out. Always nice to get a bit of movement, walk around after a good leg stretch. This next one we're going to do at the wall. I'm going to grab a box. So I'm going to be doing this using this box. I highly recommend doing it with a wall. This is just easier for filming. So again, we're going to sit into this from the top. Bring your feet together, sitting down. And you want your feet as close to your butt as is comfortable for this one. So we're using the wall to get into that anterior pelvic tilt. See, you don't want to feel your lower back pressing into the wall. See if you can rotate your pelvis so your lower back is slightly off the wall. You can push your shoulders into the wall, holding onto your ankles. Use these muscles here to actively pull your knees closer to the ground. This is one of your daily 5, so hopefully this one is feeling you're pretty comfortable with the cueing and positioning by now. And we're just trying to relax. Now the fun thing about this one is while you're contracting back here, you're also trying to relax through here. So you're trying to relax, let your knees drop lower to the floor. And notice where you feel it. Maybe you feel it up closer to your knee. Maybe you're feeling it really deep in here. Okay, well, just notice where you feel it. Notice what kind of sensation it is. We're looking for those nice stretching sensations. You know, I talked last week a lot about how, you know, a big part of learning to stretch is learning to get in the positions that are going to help you increase your range of motion, but then also learning to feel the stretch. And what does the stretch feel like? And it's very different than like getting in a position and being so tense. It's like, yep, I can feel it. It hurts. It's not what we're looking for. We're looking for a position where you can get into and you're like, okay, I can feel something. I can feel a bit of stretching, a slight discomfort maybe, but it's not like, oh my God, when's this counting down, right? It should feel good. Okay, so our contract relax in this position. The first thing we're going to do is push the soles of our feet together. So you're going to push your feet together. That's the first part of our contract. You'll already feel everything kind of working there. But then you're going to place your hands on your knees and try to push your knees into your hands. So you're trying to push up with your knees at the same time as pushing your feet together. So start gentle, increase it a little more for 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, and then slowly you can stop that contraction. Take a deep breath. Just try to relax. Check your position. Take another deep breath and see if you can actively pull your knees a little bit closer to the floor. Now this is one of those ones where a little bit of extra gravity can be nice, but we're not pushing and we're not forcing anything. All I'm going to do here is just place my hands here. And it's just literally, it's the weight of my hands that is going to help my knees go a little bit further. All right, I'm not really forcing anything down. Just the weight of my knees, the weight of my hands, resting on my knees. Notice what you feel. Those areas where you're feeling restriction, where you're feeling like this is preventing me from getting deeper, this is really tight. Take a deep breath and kind of direct your breath to that area and think about letting go of some tension. That area, so for me, right in here, can I think about that melting a little bit, letting go of some of the tension. And I'm not sure if you could see that, but I definitely felt that I got a little bit deeper into the stretch there, just through that visualization of that tight area just melting and letting go of some tension. And when I say breathe into an area, that's what I mean. I mean, take a big inhale. As you exhale, let go of tension in that area. Direct your awareness because your breathing is into your lungs. Good. Okay, this one can be pretty intense, so slowly come out of the stretch. And again, we'll shake our legs around, walk around a little bit while I reset my props. Okay, so this is our frog stretch, which is everyone's favorite stretch, right? So you're gonna need some props, something to prop up underneath, which is gonna help you relax. So I have a couple of yoga blocks. You can use cushions, anything just to allow you to sink a little deeper into the stretch and not feel like you have to tense up. So I have my yoga blocks here. I'm gonna start with my position, which is my knees out to the side. And I want to kind of have roughly the alignment of my knees, my butt, my knees are in a straight line. Now, I like a 90-degree angle here. That feels comfortable. If it doesn't feel comfortable in your knees, you can bend your knees a little more. I don't recommend going a little wider, but you can bend your knees a little more. So let our knees move out. And then you can take your yoga block and maybe you're going to put one each side. I'm going to place one each side so that it's just supporting where I am, but I could probably sink a little deeper. And immediately I noticed that having that support there just allows me to let go of some tension, move my knees a little further out, and I can really start thinking about sinking into the yoga block. I like to go on my elbows here, but if you want a little more intensity pushing down, you can come up. Wherever you really feel the best stretch. Now we're not kind of letting ourselves drop here because then you'll notice my butt sticks up. So I'm keeping some tension in my upper body here so that I'm really getting that stretch through that, the adductors, through that inner leg. Okay, so we've held this position. We've kind of relaxed. Now we're going to do our contraction. The contraction here is actually going to be as if you're trying to pull your knees towards each other. So I'm trying to pull my knees up towards each other here. And again, the friction of the floor is going to stop your knees from doing anything. So we're just going to be really lying on the floor, looking like pulling faces because it is not going to look like we're doing a lot. Okay, pressing down with the knees. Start nice and gentle. Build it up a little harder. Maybe you don't go to max intensity, but go to where you feel good amount of intensity for 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. And then take a couple of seconds to stop the contraction and take a deep breath. Try to relax. Take another deep breath. See if you can sink a little bit deeper. Now you might need to move your yoga blocks. I might actually take one out. I'm going to take one out and I'm just going to have one in the middle now. So I can let my knees go a little wider. Now you might not need a yoga block. You might be all the way down to the floor or close to the floor. Or you might need multiple yoga blocks. What I find helps is you just place the yoga block closer to your knee. Okay, so you don't really need 2 yoga blocks. You can just place them a little close to your knee and that'll help support you. One on each side. And we're just, every exhale, bring awareness to where you're feeling restriction, tightness. As you exhale, can you let go of some tension? And you might find as you're holding it, you can go a little bit deeper. I don't have anything smaller than my yoga block here right now, but I feel like I can go a little further out. So I'm actually going to just take that out just for the last few seconds. Good. And to come out of this one, it's the ever graceful kind of flop forward and pull yourself out. Good. Okay, let's move your legs around. Get some movement, maybe even take a few steps, walk around a little bit. And for the next exercise, you're going to need a wedge or a cushion and a band if you have one. So this is an active pancake stretch, and I got this one from Lucas, Range of Strength. You can either, again, similar to the elevated pancake stretch we did last week, you can either use a cushion to kind of help you. You're going to sit on the edge, help you get into that anterior pelvic tilt. Or what I prefer, and is a little easier, is to use a wedge. So we can use that wedge, sit on the wedge, and it really helps us get in that pelvis position. With the band, we're going to take it around, and we're going to sit on it. So I'm going to take the band under my butt. Come here so I can get in a nice wide straddle here. So the band is under my butt, and I can hold it at the front. I'm going to take it about shoulder width apart. I'm going to let myself roll, my hips roll forward into that anterior pelvic tilt. And then I'm going to press the band forward as I lower into my pancake. I'm just going to hold for 10 seconds. So I'm pressing the band forward, reaching as far as I can. Then I'm going to hinge at the hips. I'm just going to hold this for 10 seconds. 9, 10, and come back up. Okay, so you'll really feel that using that band really helps get that length. Okay, and that's what we're really looking for, because a lot of people will go into the pancake and round down this way, and this now really sets that pelvis position and gets that length. So let's do another set. We're going to do 5, 10 seconds. So rolling the hips forward, reaching with the band. Keep reaching forward. Take a deep breath. Let the pelvis roll. My hips are rolling forward. Reach with the band. Reach forward. Now you might find that you're having a hard time getting as deep as you normally do in the pancake. That's fine. You'll notice here, I'm not all the way down in my pancake. This is an active position. We're building strength and holding in that pancake position. So you're not going to be able to get as far. So don't worry. Let's do 2 more. Reaching the band forward, really feeling the position of your pelvis. It really helps having that wedge. If you don't have one, they're super cheap. And if you're handy, you could probably build one. Or just go outside, find a hill, do it on that. Okay, one more. Pressing forward. Good, really nice work. Okay, let's put those aside. We've got one more exercise. So our final exercise is horse stance squats. Yeah, we're gonna learn to love the horse stance. So feet together. We're gonna go heels out, 1, toes out, 2, heels out, 3, and then either feet facing forward or feet turned out slightly, whatever's more comfortable for you. We're gonna think about, okay, butt slightly sticking out, and we're sinking down between our knees. You want to not have the knees come forward, you want the knees going over your toes here. So sitting down, nice and slow, as low as you feel you can go, and coming back up. I'm going to do 10 reps. Sinking, see every time, see if you can get a little bit lower. Notice I'm keeping my chest up here. Pressing my knees as wide as I can. I'm seeing how low I can sink. Now those who've done my class before know I can't count. So I'm going to say this last one is 10, and we're going to hold it for 30 seconds. So I'm sitting down, trying to actively pull my knees out, keeping my chest up. "30 seconds goes really slowly when you're in a horse stance. At least it does for me. 3, 2, 1. Good job. Stand up. Shake that out. Walk around a little bit. And then let's take a look at your pancake. See how it is. So coming down onto your mat. By now you probably have a good idea of what your pancake normally feels like, because we've been kind of doing the stretches every day. So take a deep breath. Now you might be feeling tightness in one particular area. For me, it's very much right in here. And often if I get that feeling where there's one particular area that is restricting me a little bit, I'll do some extra, maybe soft tissue work on that area, foam rolling, grab a lacrosse ball, even just like, I really like self-massage with my fingers on my adductors, right? If I spend 1 to 2 minutes working this, my pancake will probably feel a lot more comfortable, right? And when I'm able to, this itself is probably not gonna really help me get deeper in my pancake, but if I do this self-massage, right? Once I've done this stretching and I do this self-massage, I'm like, okay, this is the area that's feeling like it's restricting me. Let's see if that made a difference. That was only like 20 seconds or so. It feels a little better, but I think that would need a couple of minutes of work to really loosen that off a little bit more. But you might be feeling the restriction in a particular area, and you can just kind of do that little bit extra work on that one area, and that'll help you feel a little bit more comfortable in the position. So that was today's class. We covered a lot, really building on last week though. So we were just adding in the contract relax protocol, the idea of getting in a position, focusing on good positioning, okay? Are you feeling the stretch, right? Can you relax in the position, right? That's the key. So we get in, we set up in that position, we perform that contraction. So the contraction, if you're not sure what kind of contraction to perform, think about, where am I feeling the stretch, right? And what action is going to get me out of position? And normally that's really the contraction. So if you're in a hamstring stretch, okay, pressing down as if you're trying to lift yourself up out of position. contracting the muscle you're stretching, taking a deep breath, and then seeing if you can get deeper into position. And then holding it. Again, feeling the stretch, relaxing. It's all very simple. There's nothing super complicated about this. It's about spending time in the positions and really bringing awareness to what you're feeling when you're doing this. As I've said many times, there is no reason to get injured in stretching, right? Move slowly. Be aware of how you're feeling. Be aware of what every movement feels like, and you'll just get that nice stretch. Great job, everyone.